Oh, we got tape on the table.
No.
Man, this might pick up from afar. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I can hear you. That's why I don't even pay attention to
Way different.
We back.
you. Another show.
You tune into the Way Different Live. You know it's your boy G. And to the left I got,
One and only.
and to the cross of me,
I guess I'm like 1.5 and only.
and to the right of me,
And you know what it is. It's the 360-pound ninja, Shamari, CNS in the building. What's good?
you know what it is. Before we start, we want to give a couple shout-outs to our sponsors, Koyo Taco and Takashi NYC, right? Ice cream?
Teriyaki, is it?
Teriyaki.
Teriyaki.
NYC.
Teriyaki
Yeah.
NYC.
Also, let's give a shout out to
Teriyaki NYC.
yeah, give a
Tiyaki?
shout out to my people at FedEx on Pine Boulevard who always get me ready for these shows. So shout out to y'all.
Is that Express Mail or
You
something?
just doing random shout outs?
That's how we do it here. You know what I'm saying? That's how we do it.
That threw me out. You just shout out
Shout out
FedEx.
to my third grade teacher, man. Appreciate you for teaching me how to say duh. You just give a random shout out.
Thank you for teaching me 2 times 2. I was confused.
Come
I
on
was
with
puzzled.
So, all right, yeah. So our sponsors, Koyo Taco, and also, too, we got ice cream. Go ahead to 1-800-LUCKY and go cop that. You already know we got our special guest here, Dwyane Wade. But before we start anything, we got to set the vibes off. So 360 pounds, you ready?
Yeah, man.
Let's do it.
Let's see what we got today.
Well, check him out, y'all.
Yeah. That 4 p.m. in Calabasas,
You already know.
8 p.m. in Miami. Yeah. Grimy. Check. Okay. Look, now when the lights start to flicker, I'm high off the liquor. Inside I reside, it's just me and my niggas. Picking up the pack on my yanai with the dealer. Money stacked tall, make my pockets look thicker. Small bills, cheap thrill, silly nigga move quicker. I need every dollar, every cent, pound deliver. Hit to test me, better call the grave digger. Coroner gon' have to say, what happened to this nigga? Police call your mama and that start crying. Screaming at the officer, you motherfuckers lying. My son 21, how that nigga get the dying? Mari told that boy how they get the Mount Zion. Now I must confess, all I do is smoke cess. Clouds on my lungs to alleviate my stress. Papa X, rough sex in the Lex, counting checks while I nibble on the honey with some real nice breasts. Yes, we the best. Wade on the set, and you know what it is, man. Tell me what's next. Hey, if haters want hate, then let them all keep hating. Whack rappers, man, I'm too busy annihilating because they perpetrating. Damn, they aggravating. Between me and them, there'll be no assimilating. I'm on a Schwarzenegger to catch me just terminating. And if I'm getting high, I'm probably skyscraping. And if I'm sipping syrup, I'm probably stargazing. I ain't been to Portland, but I'm fucking trailblazing. America's idol, these niggas too idle. I swear this country about to make me go suicidal. Before you read Da Vinci Code, go fucking read a Bible. See you niggas bitching like you need a Papa Midol. America's economy got my pockets down in shamble. $5 for gas, I ain't ready to take that gamble. Never that, I ride my bike with no handles. Chicken soup for the soul, my flow be on that Campbell's. Beating up these tracks, looking back at all my damage. Like how the fuck you doing that? I guess I'm just a savage. Or I'm way above average. I never think about the past, that's too much mental baggage. Damn, well if they want it, they can have it. Splitting rappers' heads wide open like some cabbage. UPS with it, cause I got the whole package. And if my flow was groceries, they couldn't even bag it. Damn, I mean these niggas can't handle it. I mean my flow goes off, boy it's scandalous. Shoot, man I'm dismantle it. Grab Drake by the neck and
Yo,
I'm playing with him, man.
Get up, yo.
Hey,
That's our boy.
hold on man, don't cut the beat yet.
Shamari,
I gotta
CNN.
say what it is, man. Today we have a very special guest in the studio. He's one of the greatest men to ever step foot on a basketball court. The best defensive guard of all time. The ambassador of the Euro step. Who slices through the lane like a ninja in rush hour traffic. The 3-time NBA champion. Olympic bronze and gold medalist. The mayor of Wade County. 6'4" guard from Robbins, Illinois. We have Dwyane Wade.
Put putting it down.
Welcome
man.
to the podcast.
That's
my
how we
man.
do it.
That's the
That's
introduction
how we
right
do it.
there.
Had to, man.
Hey,
No
For
doubt.
the namesake of the podcast, I had to. You know what
I
I'm
see
saying?
you. I see you.
Wow.
Man, I'm in here. I'm here, y'all, man. What's
Yo,
up?
Yo,
And
Shamari, way to
everything
put
good
it
on my
down,
end.
baby.
How
That's
does
what I'm talking
retirement
about.
feel, man?
Retirement feels good. You know, I gave everything I had, bro. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm leaving the game, and I'm accomplished. Like, I'm not leaving the game feeling like I left anything on the table. You know what I'm saying? I'm leaving like, you know what? I gave everything to it. I accomplished this. I accomplished this. I accomplished this. So I can walk away from the game. So it feels good right now to know that you know, everything that I wanted to accomplish and more that I did. So I can walk away and not look back.
Well, shoot, as somebody who's been watching you since I was, what?
Don't do that. Don't do me
All
like
right, I ain't gonna
that.
do that, but for
He ain't
you,
Like,
even
you're
that
gonna be like,
I'm 25.
that
I know
so
he
you
gonna
gotta-
say since he was like 6 or something. Don't do me like that.
I am.
bro.
I'm 25. So I've been watching you for a while, man. I know I don't got too much time. They told me not to eat up too much time. I only got 3 questions for you today. I ain't gonna pressure you.
It's all good.
Go ahead and do your thing, bro.
All right. So I've been reading a lot of. My first study is in philosophy. Like before I ever got into music, I was studying philosophy. So I've been reading a lot by this guy named Robin Sharma, who's got this book called The 5 a.m. Club and The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. And one of his quotes is, "Nothing is more expensive than losing your joy and peace of mind." So a lot of this is where the questions are coming from. So the first question I have for you is, when do you feel like you were the most selfless? Like it wasn't about D. Wade and what was going on around that time throughout your career or lifetime?
Man, I think it comes from my upbringing, you know, right? Like I grew up in a household where it was how many of us was it? About 7 of us in there?
Yeah, at least 7.
At least 7 of us. And then like my dad was the kind of dad that would bring other kids in the house. Like we had extra food, you know what I'm saying? Because he always wanted to help, you know what I'm saying? Someone, or he see someone struggling doing this and the third. So we always had a lot of people in my house. So I learned how to share. I learned how not to always let it be about me, you know what I'm saying? Because of, you know, it was from my upbringing. So I didn't understand at the time. But as I got older, you start looking and seeing, like, where is this coming from? You know, what are my personality? What are the things I think of? Where do it come from? And, you know, it comes from, you know, my childhood, man.
So when do you think was a time where you were the most selfless throughout your life?
Through all my life?
Yeah, like a time when when you did something or you were doing things that just had nothing to do with you, but you just wanted to benefit others.
I think I do it every day. You know what I'm saying? I think every day of my life I'm being not all the time, but I think every day I try to do something selfless, you know what I mean? Because I try to do something that's bigger than me. And, you know, I think, you know, a lot of it comes from my foundation. You know, a lot of it comes from, you know, just me, from the heart that, you know, that I have to want to, you know, see others smile. So I think every day I try to accomplish that, man.
All right, so I like that. Question number 2. Choosing friends is a very important skill in life. Yeah. They say you are the average of your 5 closest friends. Yeah. So what has your inner circle been like since leaving Robbins, Illinois to attend Marquette? And then how have you gone about picking your friends since that time, like throughout your life since then?
Yeah, I mean, my friends from Robbins to Marquette, even to the beginning of my career, was about the same. It was a real small group, and most of it was like my cousin and my brothers, and then I had 2 best friends, Marcus and Vincent. That was pretty much all you seen me with, you know. And then as I got to a certain space and place in my life, you know, I started to link with like-minded people. You know what I mean? People that was trying to go in the same direction, you know, that I wanted to go in. So my conversations needed to be different. And me and my boys, like whenever we get together, me and my friends from back home, whenever we get together, it's like, you know, no time has passed. But, you know, your paths start going in different directions because your conversation and, you know, what I'm yearning for became different. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to be around like-minded people that was trying to go where I was trying to go. So I don't really have, even to this day, I don't even have a lot of like friends. I have a lot of people who, as my grandma would say, would be associates. But, you know, for me, I only have a few people that I'm going to call a friend, you know, anyway. So
you keep it tight.
I try to keep it tight, you know what I mean? And people are going to show you who they are, you know, anyway, along this process. You know, you lose friends. And, you know, I think Lala Anthony came out, you know, recently. She talked about this and she probably obviously worded it different, but I always talked about, like, people come in your life for a reason in the season. You hear that? My grandma told us that. We all know that, right? And that's true. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people come to your life to go to this level. You know, they just go to level 3 with you. And then now you got to go to level 4. You got to leave them at level 3 because they're going to hold you back. You know what I'm saying? So I've had those people in my life that, you know what, we reached level 3 together, and I was trying to go level 4, and they still was at level 3, and I had to keep going. So, you know, that's real. You got to understand, you got to know, you got to see those people, and it's hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to be able to let those people go, but for you to continue to keep growing, you got to do it.
I think that's facts. I remember Gary had shared something with me a while back on Instagram where Snoop Dogg was talking to A$AP Rocky, and he was like, as you continue to elevate, sometimes your friends will stay here, and you can't come back down. They got to come up.
You got to come up. Yeah.
They got to come up. So I know that must be difficult for you sometimes, and, you know, dealing with the midst of things, NBA, fame, all of these different things that come at you, and sometimes people just don't meet the requirements to necessarily be where they
Yeah, I mean, because it can look like, oh, well, you know what people say, oh, man, you changed. That's the first thing that come out of people, right? He changed. Or it can look at as, man, like he cutthroat, or he heartless, or, you know, this, and the third. But, you know, I have a life. I have one life to live in this body that I'm in, and I have a picture that I want my life, how I want my life to be. And if you don't fit inside that picture no more, then, you know, I have to remove you. You know, it's on me to remove you. And, you know, sometimes it takes longer, you know, for you to do it than other times. And it doesn't mean remove, like never talk. It just means, you know what, bro, just step over to the side a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I holler at you. Yeah.
Step
Yeah. I holler at you over here, but I'm going here, and you in my way a little bit of my, you know, of where I'm trying to go. So I definitely had that, man. I'm sure there's people out here that, you know, that probably don't like the fact that I had to do that. But ultimately, for me and how I always work, I always want the best for my friends. You know what I mean? Like, I had a friend, LeBron James, that decided to leave here and go to Cleveland. I didn't try to stand in his way. I didn't have an attitude about it or nothing. I said, you know, man, like, thank you for the 4 years you had with me. Best of luck in your next journey. We're going to be boys regardless. This is just basketball. So I want the best for my friends. You know what I mean? You got a lot of people who mad because you want to do something for your life, and they're not coming with you. And you can't necessarily concern yourself with it, man. You got to, like I said, I got a picture, and I got to finish painting that picture before it's all said and done.
Facts. Shoot, that's heavy right there. I guess my last question then. I believe each of our lives are a book. We being the main characters of our individual stories. I feel like an important chapter in your book is almost over with you retiring from the NBA. So what piece of advice would you give yourself today to ensure that the rest of your story is beautiful?
That's a great one. That's actually deep. I guess off the top of my head, I think the things that got me to where I am today, you know what I mean? And even though it's in the basketball arena, continue to use those same, you know, principles, you know, continue to follow those same guidelines in the next, you know, thing that you do. You know, I'm the kind of person that just something simple as being on time. You know what I mean? In my profession, you get fined. In basketball, you getting fined if you're not on time for practice, not on time for this, and that's how Miami
practice?
Heat. Oh, Miami Heat don't play. They don't play no games. Like, you got to wear a certain kind of, like, everyone has to dress alike. Like, it can't nothing be different right there. So for me, that's the culture that I grew up in. That's what I believe in. I mean, you know, so in my next life, in my next phase, it's the same thing. You keep those same principles. Like, you don't change who you are just because I'm not playing the game of basketball. These are the criteria for success. Follow these criteria in your next life and whatever else you're doing. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I believe, and that's what, you know, that's my Bible. My Bible is this, and I'm going to follow it. Yeah.
Well, those are my three. But before I pass you over to my boy G, I've got a little gift for you.
Oh, man, you got me a Rolex? This is crazy.
I couldn't get the Rollie, but I thought, you know, knowledge is priceless, so I wanted to pass on Robert Sharma's book. Something that you could read while you chilling by the pool, you know, during Kavia's lessons, you know what I'm saying?
I think I was telling G about, you know, what time you was going to be coming in tonight, you know. And I said, if he's anything like me, he's going to be on time.
Oh, facts.
Then once he got toward like 7:20, I was like, maybe like me. Then when he texted me and said he was here, I was like, oops, I guess he is.
I was surprised.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
Yeah, because I'm mostly on time all the time, too, because that's what I know. All my life I've been on time, trying to be anyway. So, G, you first before I get into that father and son talking.
It's your time, bro.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Right,
so, welcome to the Wadedifferent show, Wade. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk Dwyane. 7 years old.
Oh, 30 years ago?
Let's take you back. Let's take you back a little bit because, you know, basketball is over with, but
Yeah.
I don't think we all know the Dwyane Wade coming through before basketball and some of the in-betweens. So let's talk Dwyane at 7 years old. What were some of the things you was thinking when you came home from school and you was sitting on that porch on 59th Street? What were some of the things that was running through your mind?
Oh man, honestly, I don't want to word it wrong, but I just knew I was different. You know what I mean? Like every day, like I felt uncomfortable in my surroundings because I didn't feel like I belonged there. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt I was different, and I didn't know how to be, so I was just quiet. You know, if you ask anybody about little Dwyane, I didn't talk.
Oh, I remember you being quiet.
I didn't quiet because I felt like I had nothing in common with most people. You know what I mean? So I didn't know what they meant at the time, but I just stayed quiet and I just stayed to myself. But I always knew like I'm like this. It didn't feel right, and I wasn't comfortable.
Yeah, and that was a bad neighborhood too, and that was a real bad time. One of the things I remember, I think when you were 7 years old, was that we had you in one of your first tournaments, and I believe you scored like 30 points.
Oh, I did. Talk to me now.
And you never. I'm trying to see if you remember it though, because you never got that trophy. You had got the MVP trophy, but you never received it. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
You don't remember that, huh?
Where was the tournament at? I was 7?
Yeah, you was on the lakefront. You don't remember that tournament on the lakefront?
Man, I don't remember.
That's the one I told you that you was, everybody else was tripping over their shoestring, and you was running up and down the court just scoring. And we didn't know at that time you was gonna be that type of, basketball player. I just thought it was.
I
nobody
remember one
else
at
could play.
Kenwood. You talking about at Kenwood?
That's it.
At Kenwood.
That's
yeah,
it.
I ain't get. I remember that
you
one.
Didn't get the trophy.
Yeah, I was hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember that. I was balling.
That was when you didn't even know what basketball really meant. It was too early in life. But you was out there just rolling with it.
I was hooping.
Yeah. I got another time that when Demetrius got fouled out of a game and you had to take the best player. Yeah. And
we ain't win that one. We ain't win that
Out of all of the times we won, we ain't win that one.
No, I wasn't ready yet. I wasn't ready at that time. I was playing a higher level. Let's not act like I wasn't playing up.
No, you was, but the little kid, he was a lot better than you.
Yeah, he was.
Because he was actually sticking Demetrius before.
Yeah, and I had to guard him.
Yeah.
He told me up.
Yeah, and he told Demetrius up. That's why he fouled
That's why
out.
he fouled out.
Yeah.
I was nervous, too.
So tell everybody about your first coach. You know what I'm saying? Talk a little bit about your first coach and what it meant to you.
How deep are we going into?
Yeah, let's go a little deep with it. Talk about it.
On Wadedifferent, my first coach was what you call an asshole.
Let's go.
Oh, it would be my dad. No, you know what? Like, obviously, my answer would be different now as I sit here at 37, and like I told you, I just left my son's workout. My answer would be different now than it was then. But when I was young, it was, you made me do things that I didn't want to do or that I didn't understand. You know what I'm saying? And like you drilled us like to the point where it was just like we win a game by 15 and we supposed to win by 30 and we would have to drill after the game or we have to run after the game and stuff like that. Like it was you were so disciplined to what your beliefs was and we didn't understand it. Like I didn't like you being my coach. You know what I'm saying? It's hard for your father to be your coach because like even when you play well, you still don't get the praise that you want. You know what I'm saying? Because you in the coach mentality, you in that focus. And when you play bad, that ride home when you got to be home with your dad, like, oh, it's so uncomfortable. So I didn't like it. I didn't like nothing about it at all.
Yeah.
He said, yeah. But your background was a drill sergeant. You was such a drill sergeant. And that come from your background of like, we had to drill over and over, going to your left, finishing with your left, dribbling with your left. All these things, the basic passes and all that, we drilled it over and over and over again. And as a kid, of course, we ain't got the mental focus to be able to do that over and over, but you did, and I didn't like it.
And you turned out to be a good left-handed scorer.
I go left more than I go right.
Yeah, so it worked.
Yeah, no, it all worked, but at the
Even
time,
though it was discipline at the time, it worked.
Yeah, no, it worked, and I see it now. Like when I looked at my son, I watched my son work out today, and I don't know, he probably thought he did great. I wasn't impressed, and it was more not it wasn't the shots he was making. It was just his body language, and all the things he was doing. I was kind of like I wanted more. But I didn't say anything, I'm going to allow him go through his process, and I will say something at the right time. But I get it, you know what I'm saying? Like, you strive for perfection. You know what I'm saying?
That's something different from what I did. I didn't let you just go through.
No, well, you was my coach. I wasn't coaching him today. I was being a father.
But even being a father, I wasn't just letting you just go through what you wanted to do. I was like, yo, that ain't the way I want to see it done.
Yeah, well, we grew up in the era where you can beat your kids. Nowadays, you can't touch them. So the era that you grew up in was a little different than what we grew up in. So I'm talking about beat, not whoop.
Yeah. So if y'all just tuning in, we talking to the former NBA.
I see where you got the Euro step from.
Hold on.
He just Euro. He's just. Oh,
Yeah, we saw that.
you put Manu Ginobili, D-Wade, and James Harden Euro together on that one.
Oh my goodness.
So once again, if y'all just tuning in, we talking to the former NBA player Dwyane Wade.
Oh man.
Joe,
I gotta get used to that. By the way, former.
yeah,
I gotta get used to that. It's gonna take me a while.
I thought I started for you so that you can start getting used to it. You know what I'm
You
saying?
really like going hard on him, man.
yeah.
But fast forward to about 16 years old, Dwyane. I think that was about a time when you left home.
Yeah.
And I know when I was young, I left home about 15 years old. But the difference between when you left home and when I left home was I was leaving home to leave home to go with your mom, and we had our own place. That was the difference from when you left home to go with your girlfriend and you were staying with her and her mom.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about some of the reasons why, because a lot of people don't really know a lot about us, and you hear people and in the family and outside the family talk about, oh, this is the reason why Dwyane left, but we want the real reason, so that everybody get it straight from the horse's mouth. So tell us a little bit about why you left home, and then I guess I'll finish that up by saying why I felt that it was okay at the time.
Coming from my perspective, I think for me, I was at this time in my life where I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do and who I wanted to become, and I didn't like what I was seeing in my neighborhood of what everyone was becoming, and I wanted to be different. So at that time, I felt like I couldn't focus on what I needed to do to become that person. I felt that environment was too much for me. It was too many personalities for me. It was too much going on with the not this Dwyane Wade Sr, the other Dwyane Wade Sr, and my stepmom. Yeah, it was another one.
Yeah,
this one right here. This is a great one.
I got a twin.
Yeah. No, I don't even call him a twin.
Doppelganger.
Well, actually, we got rid of the twin.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
So it was too toxic of an environment, and for a kid at that time who's I'm trying to focus on school. I'm trying to focus on getting the right grades. I'm trying to focus on my ACTs. I'm trying to focus on, all these things. I didn't feel I can accomplish that in an environment because I'm the kind of person where I need peace, I need quiet, I need calm. And our house was everything but that. So I had an opportunity at that time when I was dating my boy's mom, Zaire and Zion's mom, to be able to spend a little time away from the house. And I started doing that, like go over there and do my homework, go over there and think about my goals a little bit more. And it was just quiet. So one day a week turned to 2-3 days a week turned to I wasn't coming back at all. You know what I mean? And I started to excel because I started it started being about me, and it wasn't about Donnie, Demetrius, Mariah, Kadamas, Dwyane Sr, Bessie. Like it wasn't about everybody. It was just about me, and I was able to focus on me. So that's why I kind of walked away from the house that we lived in.
That's important.
Yeah, and I think people fault me and Bessie for letting you go, and I know people have their own opinion of of that situation, but I felt like not that because I left home at 15 years old and it was okay because of the situation I was in that was different from yours, but I just felt like at that point it was a lot going on in the household, and for your sanity, if it was gonna be better for you, I thought it would be all right, but I didn't think that you was gonna actually go and stay. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking, okay, he gonna go over there and he gonna like it for a little while. He gonna come back home.
Nah, but you know that's really important. I was just watching a video and they were talking about Thomas Edison and how when he was creating light, the light bulbs and things like that, that one of his things that he had to do was go to like a mountain where he and like a couple of his other intellectual friends would just sit there for months at a time trying to come up with something, and what that did was allow them to go into flow state, is what they called it, where everything is just flowing. There's no distractions,
Facts.
there's no outside entities putting unnecessary pressure on you. It's just you and what your goal is.
See, the thing is, what I learned about myself is I'm a visionary, right? I'm a visual person. And to get to, and I'm creative. So to get to my creativity, to get to my vision, I need silence. I need calm. I don't need, no toxic environments. You know what I'm saying? So, you can come to my house now. I got 5 dogs. I got kids. You won't hear nothing in my house when you walk in. You don't even know that I got all that going on in my house. My house is quiet. We don't play that. So, and I need that. And obviously my wife needs it as well because she's the same kind of person. But that's how it was then. And I think at the time it was taken a little different because I'm young and I'm moving out and I'm going to live with, my girlfriend's mother and all this kind of stuff. But for me, that was my sole purpose, was to get to tap into who I really am and to get out what I really wanted out of, my young life.
Yeah, you were such a quiet kid. We really didn't know that about you because you never talked that
No, I
much.
didn't talk.
So how would we know?
He was probably too young to even express it, though.
Well,
you
he
don't
wasn't
even
that
know.
young then. He was-
And I was afraid that this. Listen, told you, the other Dwyane Wade Sr. didn't mess around. He had muscles and everything.
Sure, my dad too,
You
bro.
saying about the other Dwyane Wade? Can you describe him at that time?
Oh, can I describe the other? Like I said, he was very. To me, he had a militant mindset about him, right? Which all is not a bad thing. But my dad was at the time, and he doesn't do now. My dad was big in alcohol, and that other person that would come out at that time was like, you was afraid of that individual because you didn't know what to expect out of him. Because my dad would be the coolest person in the world when he wasn't drinking, and then he'd snap into something else. So as a kid, for me, especially me, I was so quiet, but I was so shy, and I was afraid of of whatever was going to come out of it. So, so all of those things combined, that way right there, I didn't mess with him too much. I didn't mess with him. He got me a couple times when I did step out of line, but I stayed in line for the most part.
Yeah.
Because I knew that he had a switch, and I didn't want to go where that switch went. So, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about how was it to compete, knowing that you had a bigger brother that was better in the household, because we all competed.
Yeah.
And everybody tells stories about how they say everything was my way, but of course we know it wasn't all my way. It was just that's the way it went.
Wait. It just went your way.
It just went my way, you know what I'm
Okay,
saying, pretty
okay.
much. But that's because none of y'all wanted to say anything to me out the way, so y'all was like,
we
okay,
wasn't
let him
messing
have it
with you.
his way.
Told you had muscles, bro. You was a big dude too.
Well, you pretty much built like I were when I was younger.
Yeah.
So we had the same. So tell us, how hard was it competing when you knew Demetrius was a far better player, and he set a lot of records in high school ahead of you.
Yeah.
And then you came along and you did some incredible things behind some of the stats that he put up.
Well, to me, it was just, and I always say this is, obviously, watching TV, you get the chance to see like Michael Jordan and all those guys. And those guys are guys that is role models, but you can't touch them. You know what I mean? And on TV, you can't touch them. So Demetrius was somebody who was good at basketball and I can touch. I seen every day. I knew, I saw what he worked on and all this kind of stuff. So for me, it just gave me like that, if he can do it, I know I can do it. So it just kept, driving me to want to be better and want to, you want to be better than your brother. So I said, I see what you did. Now I'm going to raise you. That was my old mentality. You go ahead and do that. When I get my opportunity, I'm going to do what you did and I'm going to raise you. And Donnie, you coming next, go ahead and jump over that. So for me, it's always about these bars. And Demetrius set a bar, and my goal is always to jump over that bar. You know what I'm saying? And also to set a bar for the next person that's coming up. And that's even now. Like I do things like, people set bars and I try to jump over their bar, and I know that somebody else gonna come along eventually and they're gonna get right here and hopefully they can jump over it, and make this thing continue to keep going. So that was my mentality then. I saw my brother do it. I said, you know what, he can go to college. I know he didn't have the grades to be able to go D1, but he had the talent. So I'm like, okay, so that means I can go D1. That means I can do this. That means I don't gotta do this. So luckily I had an older brother that either did great things or made mistakes, and I was able to learn from him.
Well, one of the things that stands out a lot in my mind is, like we used to take y'all on Fridays. We used to pick y'all up and take y'all Friday to I think it was it Julian? where we used to play ball at, and y'all used to play against all the guys from my job.
Yeah.
I just want to know exactly what was the feeling, and I know you remember this, when you and your brothers finally beat us, because y'all never played with us again, because y'all used to play with us, but y'all never played with us again after that. What was that feeling like when y'all finally got over that hump and said, you know what, I beat Daddy. Not only did I beat Daddy, I beat Q and I beat Magic. And what was that feeling, man? Because those was the guys that you were watching coming up.
I mean, I was telling this story to maybe I don't know, maybe Donnie or my son too, like a couple people. My first introduction to basketball was going to the parks, watching you and your friends play every weekend, and I would have to shoot on the little swing, the little swing that got like the little basket look. I don't even know what the name of it is, but that was my first hoop. I should shoot on that. And so to be there and to watch you guys hoop all the time, and I couldn't play. So like, them guys like Magic and Q and all them guys, they was like stars to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, they was them dudes. So yeah, my goal is to one day get out there on that court and beat them or be better than them. You're not thinking about age and all this stuff. You're just like, yo, they good. I want to be better. And we got the opportunity to really play against you guys, and then we start smacking y'all. And it was like, it felt good. It felt. But I wasn't thinking like we young and they old. We should be smacking them. They got bad knees and all kind of stuff.
Wow. Well, once again, if you're just tuning in, we're talking to former NBA player Dwyane Wade.
There you go again.
And we'll be right back.
You're watching the Wadedifferent, so like and subscribe, and we'll be right back.
So let me take y'all back. That led me to go to the Army. In 1982, Dwyane was born. We had a neighbor that called the police on us all the time because we would be out there 1, 2 in the morning playing basketball. The dream was for everybody in the family to go to the league. Everybody did go to college.
Tryna be the best version of myself. Ain't tripping, I'm deserving all the wealth. Done did it so well, to say the least. I can feel it down deep inside myself. So important, just worrying less, cause nothing worthy of stress. Look inside my dome piece, hella dirty and mess. Cause they don't see what I've been doing as a journey to checks. Like maybe touch 100,000 when I'm 30 at best. I remember feeling barely awake and trying to alienate. Had the impression that I made a mistake. But now I'm talking with the people who would scare me with hate about how I'm gonna divvy up a shady estate.
Hey, listen, I get gifts from my dad. I'm happy about that, Yeah? Took me a lot of years to get these gifts.
Hey!
Like and subscribe, and we'll be right back.
He don't remember, that's why.
Yeah, so we live.
So we're back with D Wade. So he was off the air. He was talking about a fight that he almost started. So I guess I'll go on and allude to it.
Who finished it?
It wasn't the nicest people to mess with at the time. Let's put it like that. But I think.
You talking about that fight? Oh, you talking about the Lakefront one?
Oh, yeah, I was talking about the Lakefront. All right, which one you was talking about?
That one right there, we almost won him. Wade was almost always different. Like, boy, we almost won here.
Yeah.
God be the glory.
So I know Magic and Q is probably watching us right now, and they remember this. We was on the Lakefront, and of course the guys the boys don't play with us no more. But today they picked Daddy up, and we playing against the game bangers in the neighborhood on the Lakefront. And I think one
Wait,
of the
who was playing against?
we were
We was playing against
Y'all
them.
two?
We
All
brought
of
our
us-
5.
all of us.
And we brought our 5 and our family down there to play against them on Lakefront.
Yeah.
You got to earn your stripes, baby. You got to go play against the,
Yeah.
I feel you.
So we had to earn our stripes.
Yeah. So
And I got an attitude problem. So
we out there playing, and
We've seen it in the game.
I believe one of the gang members, probably one of the leaders, I believe it was at the time. He got mad at something Dwyane did, and so he threw the ball.
No.
All right, well you tell it then, brother.
Yep.
I did a story.
So
go.
he fouled me in a way that I didn't feel was appropriate, and I threw the ball at him first, right? And it was a reaction. I just grabbed it and threw it at him, and he grabbed that ball back and threw it back at me and hit me so hard. And that's what you seen. You ain't see me throw it at him. You just seen him throw it at me.
I was running the other way.
Yeah, and then Pops came with the Pops,
Pops
bleep, bleep,
2.0.
bleep, bleep, bleep. Pops 2.0 came back, and then when I tell you, it was only about 7 of us total. When I tell you, when people started coming out of the trees and out of cars, and I think somebody came out of the lake. It was like, oh, whoa! It was like, doom, we got a problem out here. It's like, oh shit! Yeah, we almost didn't get up out of there.
Oh,
We had to cop deuces like a mug.
So that's the fight. I thought you was.
God is
No,
good.
I was talking about when me and you got to a little scuffle. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you talking?
What scuffle y'all talking about?
When we was in the house and.
Nah, let me
And-
go ahead and hear it from him.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead, D.
Let me go ahead.
Go ahead. Let's talk.
Two sides to every story.
Go ahead.
We getting his side.
No,
today.
we was at the house. Pops was outside the door, and Pops was 2.0. Pops was talking mad.
Already
stuff,
2.0.
right? 2.0. And I'm like, I'm like 16 now. I'm feeling like, you know what, man? You ain't about to keep talking to me like this. But he was a little on that sauce, so I felt a little confident too. And man, he rushed me, and I flipped him. And that was all that needed to happen. I flipped him, boom, and it was over. And I got up out of there, got up out of the situation, and I swear to goodness, for the next week, I was sleeping with my eyes open. I thought that man was going to do something to me around the house. But I felt good about myself. I'm like, yeah, don't run up on me like that no more.
Yo, so for everybody out there listening,
hair on
that
my
did
chest.
happen. That did happen. It did happen.
But he was on that sauce, so I don't know.
How'd your back feel?
Oh, mine?
He always complain about it now, bro.
How old was I then? I was about
If I
40.
No, you're 25 years older than me, so if I was 16, right? So then you was like 41.
Yeah, I was like, I said like about 40.
Yeah, he was already. In
I
the
knew I
2.0.
was in that era. So let's get to something a little bit more serious, and I think a lot of people need to talk about this because a lot of men, because a lot of us are fathers, and we can't get to control the situation when it comes to our children. So some kids are fatherless, we all know, and that's because the mother or the woman throughout that relationship or throughout your life choose to prove a point. What do you think is a solution for young men today that goes through a problem like that, where they have a kid in a different relationship, and maybe that kid is getting abused in some type of way that we don't know, but how do we fix that? Where do we start the conversation?
From the abuse standpoint or from the relationship standpoint?
From the relationship and then the abuse, if it's happening.
Well, it's tough, right? And I mean, I've been in a couple of situations, and I know a lot of people have, but from a relationship standpoint, obviously, whenever the woman have the kid, the connection, especially to boys, the connection to their mom is so strong. So, when you get in a situation where you have, a kid with someone and then it doesn't work out, it kills your relationship with your kids for the most part. If the other person wants to be, that way, you know what I mean? If they want to use that child as, any ammunition, or to use that child as the person that, only reason y'all communicate, or whatever the case may be, only thing you can do, honestly, I mean, I've lucky because I had, the money and the resources to be able to fight and be able to get the answers to the questions that you want to answer. But a lot of people don't have that. So, you left in a situation where you see it's a lot of kids that don't have fathers, and you be like, what happened to the father? I would never do that. But until you're in that situation, you don't understand how toxic it is and how hard it is and how, how tough they make it. So sometimes you see men just throw up their hands and go start another family. You know what I mean? Sometimes you see it become an abusive situation. Sometimes, so it's a lot of different ways. But the only thing you can do is, you know, when the kid get older, man, they gotta ask the right questions. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't really know what happened between your mom and dad and all these things from a relationship standpoint that affected y'all relationship. And I'm saying that as somebody who it got very hard for me, but I was willing. But I had the ability to be able to keep fighting. You know, take it to where it went to court and all this, but everyone doesn't have that ability. So it's a tough situation, man. You know what I mean? Overall. So
I look at that situation and I think about me and your mom, Jolinda Wade. You know, we got divorced, but we're still like the best of friends.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are not that way.
yeah,
And that's what caused a lot of the conflict, the conflict in the relationship when it comes to your children. Because once that other parent leaves the home, then the kids wonder what's going on, and a lot of times they're not being told exactly what's going on.
yeah. Well, it's the parent's job to take their personal whatever. To take their personal stuff out of it and just focus on the kid. But it doesn't always happen that way, men or women. Like they put their problems on that child. You know what I'm saying? Like one thing I've never did to my sons is I've never talked about their mother in a negative light. You know what I'm saying? Like we've had a ugly public case that I had to defend myself and do all these things. And I'm not saying I was perfect through this process, but to them, I never said nothing negative about their mother. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not about me and her. It's about them. It's about facilitating that relationship with your kids. No matter if our relationship worked out or not, this is the most important thing, right? So it's about figuring out a way to facilitate that relationship and taking your personal ego and putting it to the side and throwing it in the garbage. Because once you decide to have a kid, you have to become now. You can't be selfish no more. You have to give everything to them. And a lot of people are still selfish. You know what I mean? It's all about me. Why did he leave me? Why did she leave me? Why did this happen? Deal with that on your own time. But when it comes to these kids, man, you got to make sure that a kid can have, you know, mother, father in the house, whatever it is. Make sure they have all those in the house or in the relationship. I'm sorry. Make sure they have those relationships because it's needed and it's important.
Yeah. You didn't have that problem.
I didn't have that problem, which I thought that's the way the world worked.
Yeah.
I was like, my dad and mom, they went together. They was cool. This is gonna be all right. No, sir.
Yeah, but other kids don't. And how do we let our children choose their own walk in life? Like everybody today has a different way they want to walk. How do we just let them be them? Like when you were saying earlier about Zaire, you know, he's out there and he wasn't really doing the extras that he should be doing to get better and better. How do we just let our children choose the walk that they want to walk in life and pretty much don't have that much to say about it?
I don't think it's no one way, right? It's no right answer to that. You know, everybody have a belief system of, you know, and a lot of it comes from how they was raised or what they believe in from their fathers or their mothers or whoever raised them. So it's not one answer to that. You know what I mean? Like I parent different than you parent, right? And you parent different than your dad parent. So for me, it's like I have to find this perfect balance because I know who I am. You know what I mean? I'm all about balance. So I have to find this perfect balance with Zaire over my other kids to say, this is when I have to be a parent and parent you. And this is when I have to, you know what, let you make your mistakes, you know what I'm saying? And let you figure it out on your own. Because you can't give them, like, even if you try to give them the perfect book to how to live life, they're not going to follow it. They're not going to do it. I'm a successful basketball player, and I could tell Zaire exactly what to do. Zaire is not going to do it exactly. He's still going to do it Zaire way. So it's at a time where I have to be a parent, and I have to get on him about certain things when it comes to work ethics, when it comes to being on time, when it comes to all these different things that evolves around it. But I can't be on him about his energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that stuff got to come from him. Like, I can say, Zaire, have more energy. He got to have more, and he got to want it. He got to want certain things that I can't give him. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially at an older age. So for me, it's like finding this perfect balance. Like, I'm sitting over there, and I'm like, I'm biting my nails. I'm like, okay, I want to say something, but eventually your kid's going to wash you out if you continue to always, every time they do something, you're telling them what to do. You got to allow.
Is that what
them
you
to
did?
Yeah, hell yeah. I learned from you.
Yeah, but I think, you know, the way you learned made you a lot better than most athletes You know what I'm saying? And so if we don't push that in our kids today, a lot of those kids are going to be subpar athletes because they didn't learn the things that you learned per se.
Yeah, but everyone's different. You know what I'm saying? You see some people out there that, you know, they like it's certain guys, especially in the NBA, you see certain guys that be like, I didn't see it in my son. You know what I mean? I didn't push him this way, and then he eventually became X, Y, and Z. Or you see some people who are from day one, they put everything into their son, and they become, you know, what we see. But like I look at Zaire process and say, I don't know what the next 20 years is, you know, set for him. He could become the greatest player to ever play this game. But I know that every time I see him play or every time I watch him, I can't be like this on him. I send him notes. Hey, Z, I'm watching your game. I see that you're doing X, Y, and Z. Something to think about. You know what I mean? It's just to me, it's always an approach. It's not that you don't say nothing. It's just approach. Like after I saw him work out today, I just said, hey, we'll talk. I didn't walk up to him on the court. I didn't say nothing on the sideline. So later on, I would hit him and ask him different questions about what he was doing and say, hey, think about it this way. Instead of being, your era was more so grab me, get in my ear, cuss me out, do all these things. And you need that fear, but it's just a different.
It worked.
But I was different. I'm built different than Zaire's built. I
Yeah.
grew up with my stomach growling. He's grown up in Wade County. Different life. So you got to treat it different. Even though you're trying to get the same messages, you got to figure out a way to, you know what I mean, to treat him because his life is different. Like I told him a story before. I was getting on him when he was younger. And everything was coming back to when I was your age, this and that. And one day I was about to get into that whole spiel. And he was like, yeah, Dad, I know. When you was my age, you didn't have blah, blah, blah. In a mocking kind of way, but he was right. He was like, pretty much like, I'm not you. I didn't grow up that way. I'm not growing up that way. So you can't keep using those examples for me. And that's when I realized, you know what? He's different. He's not me. I got to start, you know, approaching it different.
I was watching the commercials he did, I believe in the last home game you did, and I was just wondering, Zaire is an excellent ball player. He does a lot of things that you didn't do at your age, at his age. Do you think you're passing the torch a little bit too quick to Zaire, though?
In what way?
I mean, just watching the commercial, it seems as if, you know, they've already said that, Zaire, you're going to be the greatest. And we all know that it's 100 players that ain't going to be great and haven't been great. And what you did is not the easiest thing to do. So who's to say that Zaire's going to be as great as you? Great is not given every day.
No, greatness is hard. So I always tell Zaire this. Obviously, he loves the game of basketball. He's been gifted with a special ability, right? Whether it's in his DNA, it's in his genes, whatever the case may be. But I always tell Zaire one thing. His name is not Dwyane Wade. His name is Zaire Wade. I named him Zaire for a reason. He always asks me, why you ain't name me Dwyane Wade III? That would have been cold. I said, because those pressures of being Dwyane Wade, it's way different than being Zaire Wade. You have your own identity. You have your own name. You can be your own self. So I let him know that your name is not Dwyane Wade. You don't have to live up to Dwyane Wade expectations. You have to live up to Zaire Wade. You start your own path, your own journey. So yes, we put you in this light because you say you want to be here. You know what I'm saying? So if you say, Dad, my goal is to be in the NBA, my goal is X, Y, and Z, well, I'm going to give you everything and see if you can go grab it and to see. You don't have to be me. You just have to reach your goal and become whoever you're going to become. And I want him to do that. So, he's growing up in an era that's just different it's just a different era where it's about social media, it's about this and that, and Zaire has his own personality, his own following, his own this and that. I didn't have that because we grew up in a different era. So I allow him to be a little bit more swagged out, allow him to be a little bit more famous than I maybe I'm comfortable with, because I didn't grow up in this era, but I do understand the era, and I do understand what these kids need and what they're doing. So I allow him to be him, allow him to make his own mistakes and learn as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just certain things I don't approve of always, but I don't always be like, Zaire, take that shit off your Instagram. I don't always go there. Sometimes, I allow him to do it to see if he's gonna catch it, if he's gonna see it, or eventually if he's gonna change, or is that him? You know what I mean? I need to see who he is, and I can't see who he is if I'm always telling him what to do. That's who I am.
Well, I'm going back with the famous, if you're just tuning in, we're talking to the former NBA player, Dwyane Wade.
My retired payments ain't even in yet. You gonna stop?
So one of my favorite cliches from you is one of the things you said to me. We was talking at your mom's church one time. We both was on stage together, and we were talking about the name Dwyane Wade, and I was like, "Yo, that's my name," and we had some words about it. And you poked your chest out, and you said, "Well, Pops, I made it relevant."
Yeah, I made it relevant. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what that means.
Let me tell you.
Because I know what it means, but at the time, I was lost. Like, did he really say that?
Yeah.
But it became one of the best things you ever said to me. I think, because I use it now. Because I always tell the NBA dads now, we're not relative enough. We are not doing what we should be doing. So you tell me a little bit about why you said that, bro.
I don't know why I said it. I was a young kid, and I was trying to, get under your skin. At the
That's
same
what
time.
it was?
I mean, I was trying to, but at the same time, I wasn't lying either. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, from the standpoint of us Wades, the Wades that we know, because there's a lot of Wades out there, us Wades, I was the one who put the Wades, into people's thoughts in a different kind of way. You know what I'm saying? And I knew that. And I said this to Grandma, and I said it to Grandpa. When we was on the phone, we had our old conversation. I took pride in my name, and I took pride in making sure that everybody remembered that name. So, yeah, you guys helped along the journey, but ultimately, Dwyane Wade Jr. did that. So I poked my chest out a little bit, and I said I made it. I'm the one who made this name relevant.
No, that was dope.
Hurts.
I remember the first. That was dope.
If my kids listen to this, I will. You know what I would? What? Let me shut up. Y'all better not say nothing like that to me.
Man, the truth hurts.
You wasn't a kid then.
No, I wasn't a kid.
So
I was grown. I was out the house.
Made that known when you got to be a certain age that I'm not that kid no more, Pops.
Yeah, and it was just me. I was growing up, and like I said, you want your own identity too, and it is hard. You know what I mean? Like being Dwyane Wade Jr. is hard because your name is Dwyane Wade. So I'm trying to find my own identity with your name. You know what I mean? Like my whole life, they call me Little Dwyane. I hate that damn name. I hated being called Little Dwyane. So that's why the name's Zaire Dwyane, because I didn't want him to go through being called, Dwyane the Third or Little Dwyane or
You put
whatever.
a little bit of Dwyane in that name, though.
I put in the middle name.
Zaire Blessing Dwyane.
Yeah, I put it in the name. I put it in the middle name. Do you hear the whole name? Zaire Blessing Dwyane Wade. He's a blessing to me. So I put it in there, but I didn't want him to be Dwyane Wade. I want him to have his own name. So that was me too. Like, get out of this. I'm like, let me live. Let me be me. And you know what I'm saying? So it was one just saying, listen, I made this name in a way that you wasn't able to make it because you made Dwyane Wade. Everyone called me Little Dwyane. Well, I made Wade popular from the standpoint of, globally. And that was me just, poking my chest out, letting you know.
Yeah, I remember when I first
Stepping
came to
out of
Miami.
shadows.
When I first came to Miami, and I was going to the game for the first time, right?
Yeah.
And it was hundreds and hundreds of people with the name Wade on their back, and I was just blinded by it, like, yo, that's my name. That was an amazing time right there to just see all those hundreds of people walking around with Wade on their back. But let's clear up some misconceptions that a lot of people have said about me and you. From time to time, I've heard a lot of people ask me when I'm doing anything, how's you and your son's relationship? And I think right now we should clear that up about the type of relationship we have. They've already heard what type of dad I was, and to this point, they still talk about, they don't see us together, and they don't see a lot of NBA dads together, or a lot of people who've become famous. You hardly see their dads around. So let's clear up that we have never had bad relationships. We just was different, like you said. We was way different.
Yeah,
like you said.
I like that plug you just threw in there for the show.
Shamelessly.
But I mean, it you know what? And I thought about this as I got older. It just simply goes back to, as a boy, my connections with my mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, my strongest connection is with my mother, even though in my life my dad did more for me, from the standpoint of in raising me than my mom did. My mom wasn't there for most of my life because of her journey and her path as well. But it's just this connection to you know, just like my daughter will maybe have a deeper connection with me, you know, than she have with my wife. I don't know, but for me, it's just a connection thing. And like when us both men, we're both like poking our chests out. We're both, you know, shoving each other a little bit. It's just a little different relationship. So for me, as I got to the NBA and I kind of got to this journey fast, all of our relationships was, you know, not what we wanted it to be because of, you know, just kind of how we had to be, you know what I'm saying, how we had to live. And like I said, I moved out at 16. So my life took off in a total different path, and I had to become the man, or I had to become a father very early in my life. I had Zaire at 19. So I started becoming that man, and I stopped focusing on my dad. I started focusing on being a dad and being a father, and, you know, and all these things. So for me, the best thing that happened to us was that you moved down to Miami, and it allowed, you know, our relationship to grow, but also you to not change, but you to grow into yourself as well. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like once you moved here and then you started to meet different people, you started going different places, have different conversations, you started to see who you really was and who you wanted to become. And once I started seeing that, and remember we went out and sat down at that lunch when I was like 30, and we had a come to Jesus, like, you know what I'm saying, like, let's talk, you know, for the first time. And at that point, we was both saying the same things, but we was getting to the answer differently. And then we started to see each other in a different light, in a different way. So, yeah, I'm one of the lucky ones that have both my mom and dad both healthy. They both look amazing, and they both, you know, great people. So, I don't know. I don't really listen to what people say. I don't even know what people say. But I know our journey here wasn't, you know, we wasn't holding hands all the way here. I just know my connection is to my mom more because for some reason, somehow, I'm a boy, and my mom means the world to me. And my dad could do the same thing wrong that my mom do. I'm gonna be harder on my dad than I am on my mom. It makes no sense, but that's just the way it is. You know what I mean? That's the nature of the beast.
Hey, it's like Chris Rock said, don't nobody got love for daddy. Where's daddy at?
It's tough. And I know, I got boys, and I you know, I have custody of my two boys, and I know that it doesn't matter. At some point, I'm gonna be pushed to the background. You know what I'm saying? And mom is gonna get lifted up like on the Lion King. You know what I'm saying? And I know that this is a possibility, a real true possibility. And you know what? I don't care because like I'm just doing my job. My job is to facilitate your life. So as long as I do my job, I'm not gonna feel a way about who you call more, who you see more, who you talk about more. For me, it's just about as long as you know, can go off in life, you know, be a good person, be successful in whatever you want to do and all these things, then I'm fine with that, you know. But I know that it's a possibility that you do all this, and she still may reap the benefits of what we've created, what we've raised.
Well, as we come to the end of our segment with you, I have one that I have to read to you because it's sensitive, and I wanted to get it out. So I'm going to read this one to you, Dwyane. I know that there is no highs or lows or in between about me you haven't seen. But since that day when we sat down, when you first entered the league and you told me, let it all go and hit rock bottom, Dad, and start over. It took me some 10 years later, and I decided that was something I wanted to do. To go and get help, and I called you and I said, I'm ready, let's go. And since that day, my life has totally changed, and everything I do now makes sense. How does that make you feel, knowing that your dad's life is finally stable?
I mean, it makes me feel amazing. I think that I remember that call. I remember that day. I remember everything. And I wanted you to be at a point in your life where you was who you really was. Like, I got a chance as a kid to see glimpses of it. I saw glimpses of like this dad, and I was like, damn, like I like that guy. But you wasn't always consistently that person. So for me to see you get to a space and a place where you're happy in life, you know what I'm saying, where you're healthy, you know, where you laugh more, you smile more consistently, like that's what, you know, like I always tell you, Pop, travel the world more, you know what I'm saying, like enjoy this life more because we only get one. So for me, I'm happy and I'm excited that through all the storm and everything that we've been through as a family and everything we've been through in our relationship, that we able to have this, you know, this canter. We're able to have this relationship. We're able to have this bond, you know, now. And I don't look at what we didn't have back then or who you wasn't. I look at who you are now, and I'm excited about. Let's say you in your 60s, so I'm excited about the next 35 years of your life together. You know what I mean? So it means a lot to me, and I was glad that you reached out to me. That was a proud moment for me that I was put in a position that I was able to help my father, just like I've helped my mother, but I was able to help my father kind of get to that place where I knew he wanted to be. He just didn't know how to get there himself. So I'm just thankful that God helped put me in a position where I could help him. So I'm happy about that. You know what I mean? Like I smile better. And another thing too, my wife told me. My wife knew that I wasn't complete. She knew I wasn't whole because our relationship wasn't where I wanted it to be. And she was the one who kind of pushed me to sit down when we had that meeting. We sit down. She's like, sit down with your father. You know, listen to him and what he got to say, because I was so stubborn and so bullheaded in the sense of my way and how I thought things was. So to be able to sit down, you know, to be able to listen is the key thing for everybody out there. Listen, man, because we don't listen enough in this world. We all talk, we don't listen. So I finally listened to my dad. I finally listened to his way and how he did things and why he did things. And then I left with that. I left that conversation saying, damn, that makes sense. And I left saying, I'm not too far off from him. I'm about the same person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but before that, before I listened, because we never had that kind of, as I got older, we never sat down and just had a simple conversation that maybe lasts 3 to 4 hours. But I started listening. I was just like, okay, this is why you did that. This is why you did this. So, but my wife knew I needed that because my life wasn't complete until, you know, I got my relationships with the certain people that I need them. And my mom and dad is two of the most important ones. So, yeah, there you go.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on the Wade Different Show.
But I'm hard on my dad.
One of the greatest guards that ever played pro game.
Thank you, bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dwyane Wade, give him a round of applause.
Thank you. You gonna say
And before we
Junior?
go, I'm going to say
You gonna say Dwyane Wade Jr.? You know,
He already threw that out the window.
before we go, I'm going to say a quick prayer. I just want to thank God for appointing myself and Jolinda Wade as your parents. You've helped us see some not good things in life that happen, some bad times, but great times, and now amazing times. And I just thank you for being my son. And it's probably one of the greatest feelings ever that I haven't let out yet, but I'm so proud of you that I don't even know how to explain it. But thank you for coming on the show. Yes, this has been the Wade Different Show. And if it's news around the world, then it's probably being heard right here on the Wade Different Show. So share us with your friends and tune in next week at 8 p.m. Eastern Time to the Wade Different Live. I'm the one and only. For my colleagues and myself, have a great night.
Peace out.